Good morning, St. Luke's family and friends. My name is Skip Sloan, and I hope your day is off to a good start. 2020. What can I say that hasn't already been said? I won't try to list all the challenges because I'm sure I would miss something. But the simple, hard truth is this: people are hurting. People have lost their jobs, their businesses, their self-esteem, their sense of security, their homes, their dreams, their health. People have lost loved ones. People have lost hope. In short, people are wounded, and those wounds, in many cases, run deep. A lot of those wounds are right here in Central Florida, and even right here at St. Luke's. Now, although I have been fortunate not to have been impacted by the usual list of 2020 problems, I can definitely relate to the woundedness. A little over 2 weeks ago, in fact, I had an old wound, a really deep one that I thought was healed over, and it suddenly and unexpectedly ripped open. Definitely caught me off guard. And I won't elaborate on the nature of what that wound was or how truly awful it was to go through that experience again. But the point I want to make is that I want to focus on the healing. And for the past couple of years, as it turns out, I've been getting a daily meditation by email from Richard Rohr. And for those who don't know Richard Rohr, he's a Franciscan friar, very prolific author, spiritual author, a deep thinker. And in fact, we've studied a number of his books here at St. Luke's. So if you haven't read him, I highly recommend that you pick up a book from Richard Rohr. Now, shortly after that old wound was ripped open, he started a series that I found very helpful, very timely. It was on sacred wounds and the wounded healer. Now, I'd like to quote from some of those meditations. So, the first of those quotes is actually from the first day of his meditations, where he says the following. He says, "We must trust the pain and not get rid of it until we have learned its lessons." Now, I know that's hard to do, but my experience that really is helpful. Now, on the next day, he starts off his meditations with the following. He says, "The genius of Jesus' ministry is that he embraces tragedy, suffering, pain, betrayal, and death itself to bring us to God. There are no dead ends. Everything can be transmuted, and everything can be used. Everything." End quote. Toward the end of that same day, he says the following, which is also profound in my opinion. He says, quote, "Until there has been a journey through suffering, I don't believe that we have true healing authority. We don't have the ability to lead anybody any place new unless we have walked it ourselves to some degree. In general, we can only lead people on the spiritual journey as far as we ourselves have gone." End quote. Now, you can probably imagine I barely scratched the surface. It was a week's worth of meditations, but I found the whole series to be quite helpful for me in dealing with both the new wounds and the old. And among other things, this series of meditations reminded me of how some of the wounds from several years ago, I've been able to, with God's help, transform into what Rohr would call sacred wounds. Now, long story short, but I've actually been able, in some cases, to see some changes in policy, like public policy and different organizations' policies, to help the very people who are suffering from wounds very much like what I had previously gone through. and I've been able to share my story in ways that help people. So that's healing once again for myself, and it's healing for the one who is hearing my story for the first time. So I can only offer that kind of encouragement. But, before I close, I want to offer a quote, another quote from Rohr's Meditations. He says this as kind of a blessing, and I'd like to leave it with you as a blessing. He says, "May all beings be seen, held kindly, and loved. May we all one day surrender to the weight of being healed." Thanks for letting me spend some time with you this morning. I hope the rest of your day goes well.